adventurers. Welcome to Let's Just Go podcast. I'm Chris.
And I'm Kayla, and today we are going to be sharing some tips and tricks about Islands of Adventure theme park at Universal Studios Orlando Resort.
Yep, I love
I
that
always
place.
think I'm saying that name wrong.
Well, it's a long one.
Universal Studios in Orlando. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Islands of Adventure. There's only one.
Yeah. There's only one of those, thank God.
Yeah, so it's set up like islands right around a lake. So you have a couple different options, and people always say like, hey, Universal's not for little kids, but they have an entire Seuss Landing
Oh my God.
area.
Love Seuss Landing.
Yeah, that is incredibly well themed. That definitely plays into the littler ones for sure. And then we have Harry Potter. We have that weird, like,
Lost Continent.
yeah, thank you. That nothing except for Mythos, the restaurant, is currently at.
Yeah.
Then we have Harry Potter, right? And then we have Jurassic Park. And then we have Comic Land.
What is it called? I took Toon Lagoon.
Toon Lagoon, right? Which has like the Popeye stuff, and then it moves into
right.
Yeah, like some of the superheroes with the Hulk roller coaster and the Spider-Man ride and everything. So big tip here, and we may have mentioned it before on a previous episode, but this, outside of the other park, has a lot more outdoor attractions. So you do want to, if you're park hopping or park to park as they call it, you want to hit this first, because before the mid-afternoon Florida rainstorms come through and things get closed for a period of time, or there's lightning in the area. So you want to get here first to do these attractions.
I'm like counting in my head. I think there's 3 rides at Islands of Adventure that are not enclosed, or that are enclosed.
Yeah, Spider-Man,
Cat in the Hat, and Forbidden Journey.
Yep.
I think that's it. And I guess the Teacups by Hulk, but those are undercover but still outside.
So they could do the King Kong one. They do.
Oh,
they shut off. They open
Skull Island.
Yeah, Skull Island, and they have you enter right away versus going on the outdoor section.
That's what happened when we rode it 2 weeks ago, and it wasn't raining.
Also happened to us, and I was wondering that. Yeah, when I rode it a week ago.
I'm assuming they're just trying to make it shorter.
Yeah,
it's a lot longer if it goes outside. It's like
right, and there's nothing really outside, so try to keep things moving. Yeah. But very few attractions that are completely indoors, so you want to definitely get there. Now, the other part here is for foreseeable past that, like for the most part, this is the park that gets the early entry, right? And it's been the only one for a fair period of time. So who knows what will happen when Epic opens in 2025? But for now, this is the park that gets that 1 hour early entry every day. So for those staying on property, or for those who have booked multiple day tickets through a travel advisor, that group of people get early entry to just a few things that are open, right? So that's, I think, a part that people need to realize. The only things that are open are the VelociCoaster and the Harry Potter World, right? So the 3 attractions in there. Forbidden Journey, Hufflepuff. What the hell's that little roller coaster called?
Oh, Flight of the Hippogriff.
Flight of the Hippogriff. And then Hagrid's.
And Ollivander's is open.
Yeah. So and the food and in Harry Potter for breakfast. But often, like the one day we were there last week, Hagrid's was down. So people are going there. And then the other part there that you have to know is, in your extra hour, the express pass does not work. So everybody's getting in the regular line, but 9 out of every 10 people in that line to get into that park are going for Hagrid's, because, as we know, Hagrid's has no express pass option, right? Yeah. So they're going to get on Hagrid's in the shortest possible line, that Hagrid's could be. Now, there was an interesting, any other thing about early park entry there that I'm missing?
I mean, just like keep in mind that the quick service location at your hotel may not be fully open in time for you to get food and get to,
Right.
like, if you want to be there a half an hour before the early entry opens, like, I am a big fan of grabbing some fruit and just like and a granola bar or something and taking that with me. And I have images in my head of Brian and I in line for Hagrid's, like unwrapping an orange, like peeling it apart as we're waiting, and it's like still dark outside because it was springtime and like daylight savings hadn't happened yet. Um, so just like keep that in mind that if you are really wanting to like hit the ground running, you may need to bring food with you.
Yeah. No, that is a good point.
Yeah.
And if something like Hagrid's is down, that's funneling that many more people into the other three attractions
Hmm.
that are open for that hour, right? So,
Yeah.
um, just kind of keep that in mind. Um, and I don't believe that they use the single rider lines during
Mm.
that extra hour, which I don't, when you just did Hagrid's, did they have the single rider line?
So there was something weird happening where there was like a group of like 50 people blocking the front entrance to Hagrid's when we went on. So we couldn't tell if the single rider line was being used or not. However, when we got to the front, it did look like it was, but it's so hit or miss as to whether or not it is.
Yeah, and I don't think they really advertise it. So we did that. We
Yeah.
still waited a half hour, and honestly, up until the last chunk of time, it is outdoors and in the
Yeah.
sun. So I was like, oh my God, we're not.
And that's why I wait until nighttime to go.
Yeah, that part, I was just curious. We probably waited a half hour, and people said they waited about 50 minutes because, like I said, it was closed for the morning, and I saw it reopened. I
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, let's go. We're going to Hagrid's reopen. Um, and then it didn't feel like we were moving as much. We weren't moving as much, but obviously the line was shorter. Um, you know, we were between the four of us, we ended up on two different trains, and it was funny. We actually, like, me and my one daughter, it was a party of two, but they were re-riding it, and they wanted the motorcycle. So they
Yeah.
told the lady they were one and one, and then they matched us with, and I was like, do you guys want to sit together? They're like, no, we want the motorcycles. We both
Nice.
want the motorcycles. So I was like, okay, whatever. Whatever works for you.
Weirdos.
Yeah.
That is the thing about the single rider line, though, is that if you are in the single rider line, your odds are 99% that you are going to be in the sidecar and not the motorcycle.
right. Yeah. I think out of respect, you don't get a choice, right?
Right.
It's
Yeah.
whatever that the person who waited in the full line gets to pick, and then you get you know,
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Right.
So anyway, that's newer though. I don't think that they've really had been utilizing that much in the past. So it's
Hmm.
newish. Um, the other, not many shows, right? There
No.
are really no shows in Islands of Adventure. So
Just the Harry Potter
at night,
stuff.
yeah, at night.
Well, and like their little,
Oh, right.
like they do like the little frogs, toads.
Yeah, yeah. But it's more of like pop up, kind of
Yeah.
show up for 5 minutes, walk away, right? You're not
And
getting
then Ollivanders, I think they consider a
Yeah,
show.
but you're not getting seats. You're not getting right.
Hmm.
Like it's not like the Born Identity
Yeah.
or the horror makeup show or
Yeah.
um, right. No parades happen in Islands of Adventure. They're all in the other park. So
Hmm.
um, nothing like that to fill your time in the day.
Yeah.
As just something to think about.
Hmm.
What else am I missing here?
The best food in the park is going to be in the Wizarding World if you're wanting quick service, or it's going to be Mythos if you're wanting to sit down.
Yep.
Um, VelociCoaster, I experienced it for the first time a couple weeks ago. If you don't like going upside down, it's not for you. I don't like going upside down. It wasn't for me. I will say that the like pre-show is pretty cool. Like all the lead up to the ride is cool. But if I I'm gonna just like go on a little mini tangent for a second. Let me get up on my soapbox. Um, I would like to beg the creators of roller coasters to go back to over the chest straps, because the waist only straps for roller coasters that go upside down is quite literally the most painful ride experience I've ever had in my life. I don't want it. I would much rather go back to over my shoulders, please. I realize that it's just as safe. That's fine. I don't mind rattling around, but my legs are pinched. I physically cannot move, which I know is the point, but it fucking hurts.
It also makes me poop my pants a little bit. Like we're going upside down and I'm literally just holding on to these things. Like this little thing in between my legs is what's holding me in. That's it.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, please change it back. That's all.
yeah, I guess it increases the terror, the thrill, but it is intense.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, it was a good if you some people say the VelociCoaster is like the best roller coaster they've ever been on in their entire lives, and like I respect that and I can see why you would say that. I did a lot of screaming on that roller coaster. I will still pick Hagrid's every single time. I think that Hagrid's is the best roller coaster in the world.
I been trying to figure out how to, like on my last trip there, communicate how they are. I agree with both of those things, right?
Yeah.
So I think Hagrid's is the best, smoothest, most like fun roller
Yeah.
coaster, and VelociCoaster is hands down the most thrilling, right? That is
Hmm.
intense. It is out of control. It is, you don't know what's going which way, like
Yeah.
it's. So I almost think they're both the best, but in different categories of like fun versus thrill.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I do love Hagrid's and how smooth it is and everything.
Hmm.
So our last tip that we have though is we talked about the outdoor attractions, but there's a fair chunk of get wet rides in
Yes.
Islands of Adventure, right? So we like to sort of suggest either maybe, and this is why it's awesome to be staying at maybe a premier resort or something really close by, because maybe in the middle of the day or first thing in the morning, your plan is to do them, get wet in your flip flops, and maybe either have a change of clothes or be going back to your hotel to then get changed. Because obviously nobody wants to walk around in wet sneakers. It's the worst.
Yeah.
Um, you don't get super, super wet on the Jurassic Park one, but the other two attractions you
Yeah.
do, and then
Yeah.
red fish, blue fish.
One fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish. It
Yeah,
can definitely get you wet.
yeah. Um,
That is considered a water ride, Denise.
that's right. That's right. But you get very wet, and so
Yeah.
it's a shame because we often skip them. I mean, we've been on them, we go often, so we skip them, but they're great. They're great attractions.
Yeah, we've talked in a recent episode about doing our VIP tour and going on Tiana's at Magic Kingdom and how we were evacuated off before the big drop. And I was very excited for that because I do not like to get wet. My mother, on the other hand, she loves a water ride. She wants to go on them all the time. And I said, okay, sure, we can do Dudley Do Rights. Why not? Which is their log ride.
you get
I
drenched.
haven't been on it since what was the year? 2002, I think was the last time I went on it. I was so fucking wet at the end of like it was a really fun ride and I really like enjoyed it.
But
However,
at the end, the water is coming in from the sides.
you literally as you are climbing for your final descent, there is a waterfall pouring water on you. And there's also like a ride attendant watching and like she and I made eye contact and she like gave me a thumbs up and I gave her a thumbs down and she saluted me and I was like, "All right, great. Can't wait." Um and at that point we hadn't come to the final drop and I was already soaked. So, like if you're like me and you're on the fence and you're like, maybe I'll go on it, maybe I won't. I don't really like getting wet. Maybe just sit it out.
Well, and at the end, the drop is large and fun, but at the
Yeah.
end of the drop, not only is it
It's all over.
the water is squirting literally, not just like a regular
Yeah.
log flume drop. The water they have sprays
Yeah.
like coming in from the side at you.
And people can spend money to like shoot little cannons at you
Yeah,
on top of that.
yeah, it's a good. So that's our last tip for that park though, because it could ruin, right? I mean, if you're not expecting
Yeah.
it, I mean, you do see that you get drenched at least on that attraction before you get
Yeah.
on it. You know that that's happening, but if you see that, you're like, well, this might not really be great.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a great park. There's tons of fun stuff to do. Just maybe if you don't want to get wet, sit those out.
Sit them out. Sit them out.
Yeah.
Sit them out. So we would love to know what your tips and tricks are, though, for Islands of Adventure. What are you, what's something you go to right away, or, hold off on? What's something you skip, something you have to do to make your day better?
Yeah. And until next time, let's just go.